The Odyssey drifted silently through the darkness, its sleek silver hull reflecting the distant light of a young sun. Inside the control room, Captain Lena Torres studied the readings on the screens before her. Every system was normal, yet there was a sense of anticipation that made her heart beat faster. Humanity had charted much of the nearby systems, but this one, unnamed and unexplored, held mysteries that no human had yet touched. "Approaching the outer orbit of the primary planet," said the navigator, a young officer named Ryan Chu. "Sensors are picking up unusual energy patterns. They're massive. The energy readings are irregular but strong, almost artificial in nature but organic at the same time, nothing like we've ever seen." Every captain knew the stories: ships lost in unknown systems, crews vanished without a trace, entire planets that should have been empty but held unimaginable threats. Yet Lena felt something more than fear. She felt a pulse of excitement. This was what humanity had always sought, the unknown waiting to be understood. "Bring us closer," she said firmly. "We're going to see what's generating that energy." But what caught everyone's attention was the enormous structure at the center of the planet, a hive-like formation, pulsating with energy almost as if it were alive. "Is that natural?" whispered Dr. Amir Hassan, the ship's xenobiologist. His voice trembled with awe. "It's beautiful, but it's also intelligent." The hive was massive, dwarfing anything humanity had seen on Earth or in colonies. It glowed softly, alive in ways they couldn't comprehend. "How do you mean?" "Something directing the entire hive. We'll need to gather more information before we make any decisions." The readings confirmed Amir's suspicions. The hive was alive, but it was not merely a single organism. It was a collective, a vast intelligence spread across countless nodes. Suddenly, a soft vibration hummed through the hull. Lena's fingers tightened on the console. "What is it?" asked Ryan, scanning the monitors. "It's a signal," Amir said, leaning over the data. I think it's directed at us. Something is aware we're here." "Carefully." And for the first time, the crew felt a presence, a mind unlike anything human, immense, aware, and watchful. Amir's voice was barely a whisper. "It's watching us, studying us." Lena's heart skipped a beat as the massive form took shape. An alien being towering above the drones, its body armored yet elegant, limbs moving with precision and grace. At the center of it all was the Queen, a creature of intelligence and majesty. Her eyes, or what passed for eyes, glowed with an inner light. Her voice was not spoken aloud but echoed inside the minds of the crew, a gentle tremor that carried through thought itself. "Human, you must not handle me. We are explorers, we seek understanding." Without her, the entire structure may not function. Her intelligence is vast. She can perceive us, perhaps even read our intentions, and she is injured. An injured intelligence of this scale was dangerous, not because she would necessarily attack, but because a creature of this complexity could react unpredictably. Before they could decide, alarms blared. One of the drones had been caught in a sudden surge of energy. The screens filled with static, and then the Queen moved with astonishing speed, retrieving the drone and examining it with precision. She seemed cautious, almost delicate, despite her size and strength. "She's studying us," Ryan whispered, "not attacking." Acting rashly could mean disaster. "We observe, we record, we do not interfere." For the first time, they realized that the Queen was more than a ruler. She was a living archive, a memory of her entire species encoded in the hive. Suddenly, a communication from the ship's intelligence officer, Kara Novik, broke the silence. "Captain, there's an anomaly in the crew. Sensors show someone accessing restricted files, research on the Queen that I did not authorize." They were dealing with an alien queen of unimaginable intelligence, a hive alive with deadly precision, and a traitor among their own ranks. Yet, despite fear and uncertainty, she felt a spark of confidence. Humanity had faced worse odds and prevailed. Intelligence, ethics, and courage were their greatest weapons, not just technology or firepower. "Prepare defensive protocols," Lena said. "But hold fire. We do not provoke her. We watch, we learn, and we protect." They would meet this challenge with ingenuity, courage, and empathy. They would prove that even in the vast unknown, humanity could rise to the occasion. And in the quiet of the command room, the Queen's voice returned, soft but insistent. They would not make a mistake. Humanity would learn, survive, and perhaps even earn the trust of this extraordinary being. The future of both species, it seemed, rested on the choices they would make in the hours to come. The Odyssey floated above the alien hive, silent except for the soft hum of its engines. The crew remained on edge. The Queen's words echoed in their minds, "Human, you must not handle me." It was more than a warning now, it was a test, a challenge they could not fully understand. Captain Lena Torres gathered her officers in the command room. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on her shoulders. "We have a traitor aboard," she said, voice steady but firm. "Someone is accessing restricted files on the Queen. This could compromise everything. We cannot afford mistakes. This is not a species we can capture or control. Any hostile act could be catastrophic. I'll trace every access point. Whoever it is won't get far." The energy readings fluctuated slightly, evidence of her weakened state. Yet even in her condition, she remained alert. She sensed the humans above, their intentions, their doubts, their curiosity. "They are cautious and brave," she thought. "But one among them seeks to exploit, not to understand. I must remain careful." Her drones, delicate yet powerful, moved along the hive walls, scanning, repairing, and maintaining the structure. The Queen's intelligence extended through every node, every tendril, every pulse of the hive. Her awareness was absolute, except she could not fully sense the hearts of humans. That was the one thing she could not measure. On the Odyssey, the crew worked tirelessly to gather information. Drones hovered near the hive's surface, transmitting data on the alien architecture and the Queen herself. Every signal, every pulse of energy was recorded and analyzed. Humanity's patience and attention to detail shone through. They did not rush. They observed, adapted, and learned. Hours later, alarms blared across the ship. "Captain," Ryan shouted, "there's an unauthorized override in the science lab. Someone is accessing the containment protocols for the drones. He thinks we can control her." The Queen's presence, even through the data stream, seemed to linger, a quiet pulse in the ship's systems. "Marek," Lena said, her voice calm but firm. "Step away from the console. You are endangering everyone aboard. Do you understand? Think of what humanity could gain." Finally, with a reluctant sigh, he removed his hands from the console. Lena motioned for Amir and Ryan to secure him. Back in the command room, Lena addressed the crew. "We must proceed carefully. The Queen is injured. Her trust is fragile. We cannot afford to violate it. Marek's actions remind us of the danger of arrogance. Humanity survives not because we are stronger than others, but because we are thoughtful, creative, and moral." It gave her a flicker of hope, a chance that these humans were different. "They do not yet understand the depths of my kind," she thought, "but they have potential. Perhaps they can be trusted." The Queen focused, channeling her will through the tendrils, stabilizing the disturbance. She was careful, mindful that the humans were watching. On the Odyssey, Amir studied the readings. "Captain, the hive is not just a structure. It's a network, an organism. Every energy fluctuation, every movement is connected to the Queen. If she collapses, the entire hive could become unstable, potentially lethal to anything nearby." One of the smaller drones malfunctioned, crashing into the hive's surface. The Queen reacted instantly, her massive form moving with precision to recover it, but the crash had caused a minor ripple in the hive's energy. The pulse traveled through the nodes, and the humans felt it through the Odyssey's sensors. Ryan leaned over the console. "It's reacting to us. She's aware of our presence, our movements, but she's not hostile, not yet. Humanity thrives not because we conquer, but because we adapt, respect, and act with foresight." She also understood the unspoken challenge. Humanity had to act with intelligence, courage, and ethics to survive. The next hours were tense. The Odyssey's crew worked in precise coordination, deploying drones carefully, monitoring hive responses, and securing the ship from internal sabotage. The Queen, despite her injury, assisted indirectly, guiding the humans through subtle pulses and shifts in the hive. It was an unspoken partnership, fragile but growing. Marek, meanwhile, seethed quietly in his containment unit. "They don't understand," he muttered to himself. "We could harness her power. We could advance human civilization by centuries." Power without understanding is destruction, she thought. Humanity had always faced such temptations, yet it had survived because people like her chose reason over greed, empathy over ambition. Hours turned into a full cycle of the alien sun. The crew remained vigilant, balancing observation with intervention. Small victories came, the drones stabilized, the hive remained intact, and the Queen's energy fluctuations lessened slightly. The humans had proven themselves capable, careful, and worthy of cautious trust. By the end of the cycle, Lena gathered her crew once more. We've held the line. We've protected her not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. Humanity's strength lies not in domination, but in intelligence, ethics, and courage. That is what will see us through the trials to come. I will allow observation, but do not falter. As night fell over the alien world, Lena stood at the viewport, watching the glowing hive below. Somewhere inside, the queen rested, her massive form tense but alive. Somewhere among the crew, the traitor brooded, unaware that true strength lay not in ambition, but in restraint. And somewhere in the silent spaces between stars, humanity proved once more that even in the vast unknown, courage, empathy, and intelligence were their greatest weapons. The next phase of the mission would test them further. The hive's secrets were far from fully revealed, and the queen's trust was fragile. Yet Lena knew one thing: humanity would face the coming challenges as it always had, together, thoughtful and unyielding. Above all, they would remember the queen's words, which had become both a warning and a guiding principle. "Human, you must not handle me." And humanity was ready to meet it. The Odyssey hovered silently above the hive, its sensors capturing every subtle pulse and flicker of light. Below, the queen's vast form remained in the heart of her domain, still cautious, still wounded, but alive. The crew had proven themselves capable of restraint and intelligence, but the danger was far from over. The hive was alive in every sense, and trust, once fragile, could shatter at any moment. Captain Lena Torres gathered her officers. "The Queen is willing to let us observe, but we are not yet allies," she said. "We cannot assume anything. Every step we take must earn her trust, and every action must be careful, measured. We've learned a lot already, but there's more to discover. The hive's design, her control over it, the way her intelligence extends into every node. This is knowledge we can use, but only responsibly. Then we guard, we observe, and we prepare. Humanity thrives when we act with intelligence and care, not brute force. This is a test of who we are, not just as explorers, but as humans." Most beings she had encountered sought to dominate, to harness, or to destroy. These humans were different. They were cautious, patient, and intelligent. They may understand, but can they act wisely when challenged? She thought. That is what will determine their value. One of the smaller drones, exploring the outer edge of the hive, became trapped in a sudden collapse of a passageway. The energy surge from the collapse threatened to destabilize part of the hive. The queen acted immediately, sending pulses through the hive to stabilize the structure, but it was clear she could not manage everything alone. Ryan turned to Lena. "Captain, she needs help. We can't just watch this happen." Slowly, the collapse stopped spreading, and the trapped drone was freed. From within the hive, the queen's consciousness pulsed toward the humans, a gesture of recognition. "You act with care, you value life, this is rare." Humanity had always thrived by learning, by adapting, and by cooperating, even with those vastly different from themselves. But the respite was brief. Alarms blared on the Odyssey. Kara Novik's voice was urgent. "Captain, sensors detect movement within the hive core. It's not the queen, something else is there. It may be a splinter group of drones, or something entirely separate, but it's moving toward the queen's injured nodes. This is not just about survival. It's about proving we can think and act ethically under pressure." They are capable, they can act without destroying, she thought. Perhaps they can be trusted further. It was a display of strategy and cooperation that impressed even the most cautious human officers. Once the threat was neutralized, Lena contacted the Queen through the established pulse communication. "We acted to protect you. You are not alone. Humanity respects life, even life we do not fully understand. You show restraint. You may be worthy of alliance, but trust is fragile. Do not betray it." As the day progressed, the crew began studying the hive in collaboration with the Queen's indirect guidance. They observed patterns of energy, communication among drones, and the flow of resources throughout the hive. Humans' adaptability and careful reasoning allowed them to understand systems that initially seemed incomprehensible. They discovered that the Queen's influence was not just physical, it was mental and organizational. Every drone, every tendril, every pulse of energy was coordinated through her consciousness. Meanwhile, Marek watched from containment, frustration simmering beneath his composed exterior. "They don't see the opportunity," he muttered. "The Queen could be controlled. We could advance human civilization beyond imagination. Instead, they waste time with restraint and empathy." By the third cycle of the alien sun, the humans' alliance with the Queen had strengthened, though cautiously. Small drones guided by human technology repaired minor damage, energy flows were stabilized, and the Queen's injured nodes began to show signs of recovery. Humanity had proven itself capable of assisting without taking control, and the Queen responded by sharing subtle insights into the hive's functions. "Your species adapts," she communicated. "You can learn without domination. This is rare. You may have value beyond what I expected." The humans had acted with intelligence and empathy, but every decision carried consequences. They had earned the Queen's cautious respect, yet the threat from Merrick and the unknown aspects of the hive remained. As the humans worked, they began to notice patterns in the hive's defenses. Certain energy nodes responded to their presence in predictable ways, while others remained unpredictable. Amir explained, "The Queen's intelligence is vast, but she is injured. That makes her responses more variable. We can learn from her, but we must be careful not to push her beyond her limits. That is our greatest weapon, and our greatest responsibility." The Queen had not only survived injury, but had also recognized their potential. She was testing them, observing their choices, and judging their worth. Humanity had always faced unknown trials, whether on distant planets or within their own species. Success depended not on brute strength, but on intelligence, cooperation, and moral courage. The next day, a small team led by Lena and Amir ventured closer to the hive's outer chambers, using drones to map corridors and stabilize energy flows. The Queen's tendrils guided them subtly, helping them avoid traps and unstable nodes. Humanity's ingenuity shone in these moments, machines crafted to adapt to alien energy patterns, quick thinking to counter unexpected movements, and the constant application of ethical judgment in every decision. Ryan marveled at the hive's complexity. "It's more advanced than anything we've encountered. Every part is interconnected, every action has consequences. And yet the humans are keeping pace without endangering it. That's incredible." She shared information about the hive's inner workings, revealing patterns and systems without giving full control. Humanity's task was to understand, not dominate. They adjusted drones, repaired nodes, and learned to synchronize their actions with the Queen's guidance. Merrick, watching from his containment, seethed. "They're wasting the potential of this species," he muttered. "If only they could see the power they could wield." By the end of the cycle, the humans had accomplished a small miracle. They had stabilized critical sections of the hive, learned more about its structure, and strengthened their alliance with the Queen, all without causing harm or overstepping boundaries. The Queen, sensing their intelligence and restraint, allowed them to operate with increased autonomy, though always under her watchful awareness. "They may yet prove worthy," the Queen thought. "If they continue with care, perhaps they can survive what is coming." Humanity thrived not because of power, but because of intelligence, adaptability, and ethics. In the presence of an alien intelligence far greater than their own, they had survived, and even earned trust, through patience, skill, and courage. And as the Odyssey drifted above the hive, the Queen's words echoed once more in their minds, a reminder and a guiding principle. "Human, you must not handle me." The crew had worked tirelessly to stabilize the structure and learn from the Queen, but the peace they had earned was fragile. The Queen's injury had made the hive more vulnerable, and the traitor, Lieutenant Merrick, still plotted, restless in his containment. The humans knew that any mistake could undo all the trust they had built. Captain Lena Torres stood in the command room, staring at the glowing hive below. "The Queen's signals are weakening in the outer chambers," she said. "If we don't act, the hive could destabilize and she could be hurt again. We have to go deeper, carefully but decisively. The inner chambers are complex, and we don't fully understand the hive's defenses, but we have learned patterns from her guidance. We can do it. Human intelligence, human skill, human ethics. Our tools are our minds and cooperation. Let's show her what humanity can do." Yet she sensed danger approaching from multiple directions, energy fluctuations in her core that threatened to overwhelm her, and the hidden threat of human betrayal. "They are capable, but will they act wisely under pressure?" she thought. "That is what will determine trust and survival." Lena, Amir, and Ryan prepared to enter in a small, reinforced shuttle capable of maneuvering in tight spaces. Each member of the crew understood the risks. They were not just explorers. They were guardians of a life far older and wiser than themselves. Humanity had survived by facing danger with thought, courage, and morality. As the shuttle descended into the hive, the walls of the alien structure seemed alive. Bioluminescent filaments pulsed rhythmically, guiding their path like veins of light. The energy flows shifted subtly, and the crew realized the Queen's consciousness extended even to these chambers, watching, assisting, and subtly guiding them. "Look at this," Amir whispered, pointing at a node along the wall. "It's stabilizing after our previous intervention. She's responding to our actions. She's trusting us in a way." Suddenly, an alarm blared. "Captain, energy surge detected ahead," Ryan shouted. "Something is destabilizing the Queen's core nodes." The energy surge threatened to overload a section of the hive, but with careful adjustments, the humans managed to stabilize it. The Queen's consciousness flowed through the hive, and the humans felt a subtle, approving pulse. "You act with wisdom and care," she communicated, "but danger grows. Others will test your resolve." Lena instructed, "We distract them, redirect their energy flows. No destruction, use strategy, not force." Once the rogue drones were contained, the humans discovered that Merrick had managed to access a minor control node in secret, attempting to manipulate a section of the hive to his advantage. Lena's jaw tightened. "He thinks he can control her. We cannot let that happen." Using human logic and ingenuity, they created a feedback loop that neutralized Merrick's interference without harming the Queen or the hive. The rogue energy stabilized, and the humans breathed a small sigh of relief. The Queen's pulses were steady now, a subtle acknowledgement of the humans' competence. "You have preserved life where others would have destroyed. You show intelligence and courage. You may be trusted further." Lena spoke firmly. "We go further. The Queen needs us and we will not fail. Humanity survives because we think, adapt, and act with courage and morality. That is what makes us strong." Energy conduits were stabilized, nodes repaired, and pathways cleared, all without forcing control. Humanity's strength shone in moments of patience and intelligent problem-solving. Amir worked alongside the shuttle controls, carefully synchronizing human technology with the hive's energy flows. "Every adjustment we make, every pulse we send, must harmonize with the Queen's consciousness. One misstep could trigger a collapse." Humanity had earned trust, but they were aware that it could vanish instantly if they acted recklessly. Suddenly, one of the major energy conduits began to fluctuate violently. The Queen's injury made it unstable, and the humans realized that if it collapsed, the hive could suffer catastrophic damage. Lena made a split-second decision. "We stabilize it manually. Shuttle drones, prepare for direct intervention." "You preserve life. You are worthy of my trust," the Queen communicated. The humans felt pride and relief, but they also knew the danger was far from over. Merrick still posed a threat, and the hive itself contained unknown hazards. Yet in these moments, humanity had proven its worth. They had shown intelligence, courage, and empathy, even in a situation vastly beyond anything they had faced before. As the shuttle moved back towards safer corridors, Lena reflected on the lessons of the mission. Humanity's strength was not in domination, but in intelligence, moral courage, and cooperation. They had protected life, solved complex problems, and earned the trust of an alien intelligence far older and wiser than themselves. Merrick, in his containment unit, seethed silently. He could not understand that true power lay not in control, but in wisdom. Humanity had shown him that strength without ethics was weakness, and that cooperation with intelligence and morality was the path to survival. By the end of the cycle, the humans had stabilized the Queen's most vulnerable areas, repaired critical conduits, and learned much about the hive's structure and operation. The Queen, still cautious but more confident, allowed subtle communication and guidance. Humanity had proven itself capable, not through force, but through thought, courage, and empathy. "They may survive what is coming," the Queen thought. "They have shown intelligence and courage, but tests are not over. Trust is fragile and danger remains." The crew had succeeded in their mission for the moment, but they knew that greater challenges awaited. Humanity thrived not because of raw power, but because of intelligence, patience, and moral courage. And as the humans prepared for the next phase, the Queen's words echoed once more in their minds. "Human, you must not handle me." Humanity had proven it could rise to it, but the ultimate test still awaited. The Odyssey hovered quietly above the hive, its engines humming softly as if sensing the tension below. Humanity had endured tests of intelligence, courage, and morality, and now the final challenge awaited. The Queen's injury had left her vulnerable, and the rogue faction within the hive, combined with Merrick's lingering ambition, meant that danger was closer than ever. Captain Lena Torres gathered her officers. "This is it. she said. The hive's inner core is unstable, and the Queen's most vital nodes are at risk. We must act, and we must act carefully. One wrong step could destroy everything we've worked for. He may try anything to seize control. She also sensed the hidden danger of Merrick, whose ambition radiated faintly even from containment. The Queen's consciousness pulsed through the hive, guiding, observing, and preparing for the humans' arrival. They are capable, but can they act without succumbing to greed or fear, she thought. That will determine if they are worthy. Humanity had never faced anything so vast or complex, yet they were determined to succeed. As they approached the inner core, alarms blared on the Odyssey. Drones within the hive detected destabilized nodes, and energy surges threatened to cascade into a chain reaction. Lena's voice was calm but commanding. Deploy stabilization drones. Coordinate with the Queen. Every pulse must align with her consciousness. The energy threatened to overload the entire section of the hive. The Queen extended her influence, but her injury made her control imperfect. Lena made a quick decision. We stabilize it manually. Shuttle drones attached to the nodes directly. Follow my lead. Human ingenuity and adaptability shone as they synchronized their actions with the Queen's pulses. Energy conduits stabilized, rogue drones were redirected, and the surge was contained without causing harm. The Queen's consciousness pulsed toward them, a gesture of gratitude and acknowledgement. They act with wisdom and courage. They preserve life. They may yet survive what is coming, the Queen thought, but the danger was not over. Merrick, watching from containment, had attempted to hack into the Odyssey systems, seeking to manipulate the hive. Kara Novik detected the interference instantly. Captain, Merrick is trying to override our controls. He wants to destabilize the Queen and take command. Cut all external access. He will not succeed. The humans had stabilized the hive, proving that they could act with both skill and care. Lena realized that the Queen's trust had shifted from cautious tolerance to tentative respect. Humanity had earned her recognition not by force, but by intelligence and moral courage. As they moved closer to the hive's central chamber, the full scale of the Queen became clear. Her massive form radiated energy, a living network of intelligence and life. She looked at the humans with an almost tangible presence. You have acted wisely. You have protected life where others would have destroyed it. You may be trusted fully. They had faced dangers beyond their comprehension, navigated the complexities of an alien intelligence, and preserved life without seeking control. Humanity had proven its worth, not through power, but through thought, cooperation, and courage. Lena approached the Queen with careful respect. We honor your life and your hive. Humanity survives because we think, adapt, and act with integrity. We do not conquer, we learn. We do not destroy, we protect. One of the hive's outer nodes began to destabilize violently, threatening to cascade into a chain reaction. Even with the Queen's guidance, the humans had to act decisively. Lena issued commands calmly, coordinating drones and human intervention. Every adjustment had to be precise. Every pulse of energy had to harmonize with the Queen's consciousness. The team worked tirelessly. Amir adjusted energy conduits. Ryan synchronized drones with flawless timing, and Lena oversaw every action, ensuring that no step exceeded ethical bounds. The surge intensified, threatening to engulf the hive's inner chamber, but the humans' combination of intelligence, adaptability, and moral courage held firm. Finally, with a precise series of adjustments, the surge was neutralized. The hive stabilized completely, the Queen's energy nodes pulsing steadily. Humanity had succeeded, not through domination or control, but through intelligence, cooperation, and courage. They have proven themselves, the Queen thought. They may survive, and perhaps they will continue to grow beyond what I expected. Their species has potential. He had sought power without understanding, control without care. The humans had demonstrated the truth. That strength without ethics was weakness, and that survival depended on intelligence, courage, and moral action. With the hive fully stabilized, the Queen extended her consciousness toward the humans. I will allow you to observe, to learn, and to interact under my guidance. You have earned trust. Remember always, you must not handle me. Respect and wisdom are your greatest tools. Humanity had survived not through force, but through ingenuity, empathy, and moral courage. Lena contacted the Odyssey. Mission accomplished. Hive stabilized, Queen acknowledged our competence, and Merrick's interference contained. We have proven that humanity can act wisely in the face of the unknown. This hive, the Queen, her intelligence. Our understanding of life, intelligence, and cooperation has grown immeasurably. You may continue to grow. Humanity is capable of greatness if it chooses wisely. Remember always, do not handle me. Act with respect and thought, and you will survive. They had proven that the greatest strength of their species was not power, but intelligence, courage, and moral integrity. The Odyssey prepared to return to orbit, leaving the Queen and her hive in peace. The crew reflected on the lessons they had learned, that humanity thrived through thought, adaptability, and ethical action. That trust was earned, not demanded, and that even in the vast unknown, intelligence and empathy were the greatest weapons of all. As the ship ascended, the Queen's presence pulsed one final time. You have succeeded where others would fail. Continue to act with wisdom, courage, and empathy. Humanity is capable of greatness. Never forget, you must not handle me. And in the vast reaches of space, that was the most remarkable strength of all. Above the hive, the Odyssey drifted, carrying its crew home. Humanity had earned respect, knowledge, and experience beyond measure. The Queen remained in her domain, healed and wise, a guardian of her species, and a testament to the alliance formed through trust and mutual understanding. And the words that would echo in the minds of the humans for years to come remained clear and unwavering. Human, you must not handle me. In the silence of space, the Odyssey and its crew carried the triumph of humanity, ready to face whatever challenges the stars might hold next.